With RockStack, you get a set of essential features for building SaaS applications. These 9 features are the result of me trying to build the best boilerplates in .NET, in Vue, React, and Svelte, and my latest one in Remix. So I'm gonna go one by one, starting with auth and user management. After you have seeded the database, you can log in as the admin user, and you have access to this admin dashboard where you can see the tenants or accounts and the users. And let's try creating this admin 2 email, password admin 2. And this will be an admin, but not a super admin, just a guest. So he will have access to the dashboard, but he will not be able to perform certain things like creating a new tenant or creating a new user. Now, we have also another type of user, which is not an admin, which is a tenant user. So this Luna Davis user has access to these Acme Corp 1 and Acme Corp 2 tenants. So let's log in as those, Luna Davis with password. And this is not the admin dashboard. This is the tenant dashboard, your customer's application, where they can out of the box update their profile, members, and subscription. So yeah, that's basically it with the auth and user management feature. And as you saw, we have this built-in email and password. It's not tied to any third-party library. Now, subscription and payments. Let's go back as an admin user. We have this pricing plans page where it says that I can update my plans on this file and look for my pricing plans. Like this is number 2 called Pro. Or I can create it one by one. Like let's create one called Basic. It's gonna be flat rate, monthly price of 9, yearly price of 90. It will have access to one user and it will not include priority support. Now let's say that I want to add another plan called Lifetime Deal. And this pricing model is gonna be one time, and the one-time price 200. And if we don't have these features like this, we can copy them from another product and increase it or decrease it, like users 5 and include priority support. Now, to test this, I'm gonna open an incognito tab and go to pricing. So I can subscribe to this basic plan and create my user here. I'm gonna basic number 10 and the Stripe testing card. And this will prompt me to create the account to confirm like my account name, my name, and my email and password. So we now have access to our application. And if I go to settings, I can see my subscription here, my features and limits, one user, and my subscription here. I can actually subscribe to another feature if the settings allow it, like buying a lifetime deal, or I can cancel my subscriptions here. So yeah, that's basically the subscription and payments feature, which is built with Stripe, of course. And roles and permissions. Well, I already showed you what it's like to create a user and set it as a guest. But let's say that we don't want the guests to see, I don't know, the users page. We can see that this page, if I go to this specific page, is protected with this verify user has permission function, and the permission name is admin users view. So currently I'm an admin user, I'm a super admin, so I can go to roles and permissions and go to this specific oops, let me close this specific role, and let's search for these permissions. So let's say that we don't want that permission for guests. Let's go back and log in as my number 2, and let's try going to the users. So we should have this unauthorized. And previously, if you remember, we were able to see that page. So you can see that you can protect full pages with these top level verify user has permission, but also actions like let's see where it can where it's used, like here on this danger. If the action is delete, it will check on this specific admin settings danger reset permission, which is only for super admins. Um, and that's the roles and permissions feature. Now let's go to page blocks. This is a little bit more technical. Um, it's not a feature that you can see on the dashboard. So let me show you what it's the contact page. So on the contact page, we have the loader data with the meta tags defined here. So we can call this function and set the title and description. And the blocks, which are actually the page blocks, we have it defined like this. So we have the header, and we can update this default header because it's used in more than one page, like contact, landing, newsletter, and pricing. And we have this heading. Let me show you what it's like, contact page. So let's go to that contact page. So this is an easy way to render specific blocks, but you can actually use render and put something here like hello. So it's all the way to here because it's unstyled. That's the benefit of the page blocks. And if the page blocks require data, like in this case, it requires contact form data, you need to define it on the loaded data and then load it. In this case, I'm gonna go to the contact page and see on the loader here that I'm actually loading it in a remix way. But in Next, you get a Next specific way. But this contact form data needs to match the contact page loader data. And then we can use this data on the page blocks with use type loader data. And finally, if you have actions, like in this case, we have this action submission, you will have access, you will be able to call this specific action on the action. In this case, it's remix specific, but if I go to my RockStack next contact page, you can see that it's the same structure: loader data, load function, meta tags, blocks, and action submission. And this action submission is called in a different way. With React Server components, we have the contact form calling it directly. And in the case of Remix, it's done in the action depending on the action name. So yeah, that's a convenient way of building quickly landing pages like I showed you. Now, these pages are SEO optimized. And let me show you what I mean. If I run my ng rock http import 3001, I will have this URL, so I can see my application title, and I can see the meta tags on that URL. So we can see that we have our title, our description, our open graph image, and so on. So every marketing page, like pricing, contact, newsletter, and terms and conditions, come with good SEO, so you can override it. Let's say that we want to override the meta tags for newsletter. We have this newsletter page meta tags, and we can change the title here and the description here. If you want to take a look at how this is done, you can see that you can override the defaults like title, description, keywords, image, thumbnail, and this is in Remix, but you can see that in Next it's similar. So it's a framework for multiple frameworks for building SaaS applications. So you can um, share functionality across your Next, SvelteKit, or Remix SaaS applications. So migrations are really simple to do. Now, as you've seen, this is multi-tenant architecture, but it's not actually database per tenant. It's only tenant column architecture where you have on the models. Let me go to my Remix one for schema. I mean account Prisma. Uh, Here I have my models, and this tenant defines my customers. So whenever I have this tenant ID column, it means that it's for that specific account. So you need to be careful on if you're gonna show something on the tenant dashboard, you need to filter correctly the data that comes from that tenant. Um, I mean, I give you the tools, but that doesn't mean you can make a mistake and call, I don't know, like get all invoices and you forgot to filter by tenant ID. And you have these utils, URL utils, get current tenant URL that you can see it's used across the application. Or this one right here, get tenant ID from URL. So you can have that tenant ID on actions and on loaders. So you can grab the specific tenant or grab the specific tenant data. And now let's take a look at the cache. If I log out and log in as the admin super user, I can see that I have this cache page and I have currently uh, 46 keys cached. So this means that, for example, if I have this tenant subscription key, it's used on get active tenant subscriptions. And since this function is called on the app data, meaning on every page load when I'm on a specific tenant dashboard or page, it makes sense to be cached in and only update that value when needed. Like, let me show you when it's invalidated. It's here. Clear cache key on this tenant subscription when we're creating a subscription or updating a tenant subscription or even delete it. So the application is much faster out of the box. And this is not on every database call, only on those that make sense. And if you want to disable the caching mechanism, you can turn off this on, turn it off on cache enabled to false or log it to see what it's doing. Or if you're using this cachified function, you can pass it the disabled flag so you can make sure that it's not getting the cached value. Now, going to the next feature, multi-theme. Maybe this is one of those features that is not actually super essential, but as a developer, you need a good foundation on updating themes and fonts really quickly, like dark mode and rose theme. But let's say that you want to use ChatGPT to generate your theme. I'm gonna go to themes, CSS, and copy these themes and say generate a theme, my new theme with purple with green background. So it will give me two classes. The first one is gonna be the light mode, like this one, theme violet, and the dark mode. And while that is finishing, To put it on the selectors, we can put it here on the default themes array. So my new theme is gonna be my new theme. And let's copy this code and put it at the bottom. So we have this theme, my new theme. Going to the application, we should have this my new theme, which is green with a purple background. Well, it did it all the other way around, but that's because it's dark mode. And fonts, well, you need to go to Tailwind or Shadcyan to see the specific. It's not that hard, but you can see that it's really quickly to build themes. And finally, internationalization, which is pretty important to me because I've seen some frameworks do this instead of having like this way of changing the values. If I refresh the page, we still have these Spanish keys. And I've seen these frameworks do it this way. And I'm not saying it's bad, but I don't like directory based internationalizations because I don't have control in the server or in the front end even. And even worse, if I'm creating a contact page, now I should support something like a language specific page. And this depends on the framework, but I find it much more convenient to have translations keys on these on the supported um, languages. If you want to support another language, you will just go to your configuration and specify the new language. And this is the same for Remix and Next and SvelteKit. You have these translation keys, and it's not mm, directory based. It's cookie based, which is how I like it. So yeah, if you would like to support the early development of RockStack, you can have a 90% discount. Thanks for watching.